We is back. We is back. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. What it is, man. Y'all know how we do on the ride to work. Let the dogs run around for a few. Yeah, man. Let the dogs run around for a few. Snake House. My man Snake House in the building. What it do, bro? So I think in court today they ready to play the Alicia Andrews and the Julio FOOLIO trial. They ready to play Alicia Andrews police interrogation. She ain't snitch, y'all. Everybody running that narrative on her. That girl ain't tell, man. And they just had a whole conversation about the fact that she didn't tell. Now, she got caught in blatant lies, you know. So that's what the argument in court and today was about. The prosecution wants to highlight the fact that she lied to detectives in the interrogation room. And prove that they was lies by showing the facts. I ain't gonna lie, that could be damaging, depending on how you look at it. I told y'all, Alicia Andrews got charged because she didn't snitch. If she'd have told, they wouldn't have charged her, man. Because you see, they don't really have no strong case against her. They ain't really got no strong case against her, yo. The strongest evidence they got against Alicia Andrews was the fact that she had that fucking face mask on. 2800. She had that surgical mask on when she got out that car at that party. That's the strongest evidence they got on her, man. Now I don't know how she can get around that. Yeah, man, Delta Force, what it do? I don't know how she can get around that. I might have missed the defense third. I mean, we heard in opening statements that I forgot what the fuck they were saying, but we heard it in the opening statements, but I haven't heard it come up like during the trial with a, you know, where they presenting facts. But if she'd have told, she wouldn't have been in court. If she'd have went in that bitch and been like, man, look, I ain't had nothing to do with it. Day one of Julio FOOLIO did. My boyfriend told me call him. He wanted me to go with him. Man, she'd have been alright. Yeah, I don't think they got no case against her, yo. Like, we've been watching the case. Now, we haven't watched it day for day. What's up, Mo? We haven't watched it day for day. But what we seen, they haven't really produced any evidence, like strong evidence. They showed text messages from 3 years ago. I mean, from 4 years ago. 3 years before Julio FOOLIO was murdered. Saying that she wanted them dead. Yo, but a lot of people wanted Joe dead. You feel me? Like, that ain't really strong. I mean, it can be, depending on how the jury look at it. If there's not really strong evidence. It's not really concrete. It was 3 years ago. What's up, Major? Like, if she'd have said that 6 months prior to the murder, that'd have been rock solid. But man, it was 3 years ago. That ain't really hold that much weight. And people trying to run with this narrative that her best friend really fucked her over, and she really didn't. You know, because if you listen to what the defense questioned her about, she said, yo, Alicia Andrews ain't in no gang. She ain't never did this. This was just girl talk. A lot of people talk like this. I guarantee if you go through a lot of them girls' messages, that ain't got, if they could do this, no, I know they can't, but if they were just to start pulling messages of girls in Jacksonville that was around that drill culture, it's probably a lot of that, man. I hope they kill Julio FOOLIO. It's just talk. Hope they kill Young Days. Hope they kill whoever. it's just talk, yo. It was 3 years ago though, bro. See, yo, this is the thing. Julio, Alicia Andrews' biggest problem was she wanted to be in the mix, and that's why it's important to talk about this case, because this goes out to the girls that want to be in the mix. When you want to be in the mix, you might find yourself in the blender. You feel me? Now she in the blender. What it is? Appreciate Dr. Force for keeping it G. Straight up. Hey, get over here. She wanted to be in mix. Now she found herself in the blender, man. And yo, they said that girl that got killed out Chicago ain't dropped no Bayzee location either. They say that's a false narrative. In the cage. They say that's a false narrative on that situation. But that's another girl. Want to be in the mix. Like, I don't know what's going on with the rise against the girls. Yo, but I don't even know how niggas be allowing these girls to, do what they do. Because it couldn't have been me. You heard me? Couldn't have been me. You supposed to keep girls out the way, man. Supposed to keep girls out the way, man. They ain't supposed to have no real intricate details about what's going on in the streets. No inside knowledge. You know what I mean? Especially when it gets to a point where people get to dying and shit. Got these girls listening to their music, talking about, yeah, my niggas spin blocks, and I'd been like, yo, stop doing that shit. What the fuck is you doing? Like, are you spinning blocks? Like, what the fuck is you talking about what other people doing for? Fucking man, what the fuck? What the fuck we start on that? Hold on, let me put these clothes in the dryer real quick. My bad, man. My bad. I had to put these clothes in the dryer. Kids ain't gonna do it. You know what I mean? If I don't do it, that shit won't get done. Yeah, but Krishan Rock tired of the games, man. Krishan Rock tired of the games. She tired of being preyed on. She tired of the manipulation. She tired of the games, man. But that's why, she participated. Should not participate in that shit, man. That shit dirty. I told y'all, I've been telling y'all for a while that they pay people to say what they want to say. Candace Owens talking about that shit now with Kanye West. How he was forced to put out a statement when he got into politics. These motherfuckers got handlers, man. I mean, they got handlers. They're not moving on their own. That's why I told y'all I don't want to get in the industry. Like some of these other niggas, man, I don't want to be in the industry. I'm totally fine with being on the outside and calling these motherfuckers out for the flawed shit they do. You know what I mean? I'm cool with that. You hear me? Cause I can't be controlled. Like straight up, you can't put no price tag on me and think I'm just gonna conform. You know what I mean? Hell no. We don't do that over here. If that was the case, I'd have been conformed. I've been on the internet for 4 years. I'd have conformed in year 2. You feel me? Straight up. But Alicia Andrews. What the fuck is this? So let me show y'all the argument that happened in court today. Yo, let me know if we don't get clear, y'all. That proves that she didn't snitch. So for all the people that's ran with that narrative, she told me to take that video down. Alright, here we go. She stood taller than Gunna. Woody. You know what I mean? Gunna, Woody, Terrence Williams, Butter. Damn. That shit crazy. Who was it? Gunna? Who the YouTube rats? Trenches News. Damn, y'all. This little ass girl, man. Little ass girl. Ain't say nothing. But you got stone cold killers like Terrence Williams telling it all. Yeah, I told y'all though. Like people try to make the no snitch rule a street thing. Yo, but it's a lot of people that ain't in the streets that is stand taller than a lot of niggas that's in the streets. Straight up. Motherfucker ain't never did nothing street in their life and just found themselves in a situation. They be more solid than the ones that been in the streets their whole life, telling everything. Not all the time, but in some cases. What it is, bro. Look at this argument right here.
I did receive your case law and reviewed some of it. Defense, have you reviewed it?
I did. I mean, most of them cite the same. There were some cases where they did not allow the defendant's statements. That's what the phone call, the defendant asked for
now look, right? This is an example of what you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. The defense, even though she didn't tell, she made statements. You know, contradictory statements. The defense don't want it allowed in because it's saying it could prejudice the jury. The prosecution wants to use these statements because to them it was obvious lies, so it can prove guilt.
Was there no consideration that's not the purpose of the statements. Can't come to those. Right, so those people were not listening and see black and law negotiations is the same thing I cited yesterday to the court.
Okay, so Mr. Harmon, and I've reviewed half of the cases. So are any one of these cases more directly on point to what we have here, which is where the detective makes a statement to the defendant during a post-Miranda interview that they're facing life or a significant term of years, and therefore that should be excluded and not included as part of the rule of completeness? What would be the closest case to that?
Let me look at my outline here real quick. I believe there is one that's close, but pretty much all of these cases cite different ways the standard for the court to take into consideration.
Right, and so the thing is, honestly, this should have been handled before trial. Because the only way for me to really know is if I watch the whole video. And I'm not going to, in the middle of trial, take time out and watch an hours long, over an hour long video of the defendant's interrogation. So I'm flying blind here, relatively speaking. So there's no way for me to know if, in fact, the statements that the detective made are, in fact, relevant to any potential impeachment or issue. And I just want to clarify and make sure for the record, Mr. McClymonds, you're not claiming that these statements made by Detective Ramos have to go to the voluntariness of your client's statement, or are you?
Not that the statements are involuntary, they invoke certain responses from Ms. Andrews. It's not that.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're not talking about voluntariness. We're simply discussing context, correct?
Right.
Okay, and so then.
Back in the day, you.
Yo, we clear, right? Don't forget, y'all. Let me know if I don't get clear, man.
You bet sinners just to get boards. Word. Now I take them to make three.
Basically, the correct standard is whether the interest of fairness, the remaining portion should have been contemporaneously provided to the jury. I think the closest case in the group that I sent to the court is going to be the dissent case, which is a 4th DCA case in 2007, in which the 4th DCA found there was no violation of the rule, where the trial court excluded irrelevant portions of his statement. The state's edited version of the tape did not create misleading impressions or take statements out of context. Additionally, it reads the state's edited version did not exclude exculpatory statements. In fact, part of what the state excluded was the defendant's admission that he had used robbery money to buy drugs, a collateral matter. Similarly, in this case, Your Honor, the majority of what we're attempting to exclude are not the defendant's statements, but the detective's statement about completely irrelevant matters that are not only irrelevant to this proceeding, but would be misleading and confusing to the jury. Specifically, he is telling her, you are going to receive a life sentence if you don't tell us what happened, if you don't give us your version, if you were dragged into this gangland war by Mr. Chance or others, you need to tell us now. You're looking at life. And he doesn't just tell her you're looking at life. He fleshes it out in long narratives where he talks about the implications of life, her life in the prison, that it's going to be her nursing home, that she's going to be woke up every morning and told what to do, what to eat, where to go. He talks to her about the fact that she'll be...
Motherfucker Sonny Nash would have shitted himself. Hey, the man Sonny Nash took out these Jacob boys. They just shitted themselves, told it all. You heard me? Yo, that's the tactics they use. They try to scare you, yo. And motherfucker told me I ain't gonna come on until I'm 75. I was like, God damn. Hey, yo, like, yo, you gotta be a strong motherfucker, yo, not breaking the interrogation room, man.
Walk out to a yard where it's surrounded by high walls. Then he proceeds to tell her all of the things that she will miss. She'll miss Thanksgiving dinner with her parents. She'll miss all the things that other people have in their lives, while the co-defendants may be out running around living the high life. His statements about the life sentence, number one, not only is that irrelevant, it's misleading to the jury and confusing to them because it's not something for their consideration. In fact, as the court's well aware in your instructions to them, you're going to tell them they cannot consider any potential sentence. And also, as the court's aware, normally jurors never know what the potential sentence is in a case like this. Excuse me, counsel, I'd like to finish my argument.
Okay, please step out, Detective.
I think everybody knows that if you're facing a murder case in any state, you know, the maximum is life. I mean, I don't think that's up for debate. First degree murder.
Okay, Ben?
So the court has suggested a curative instruction. So basically what we would be doing is putting before the jury something that they shouldn't be hearing and then trying to cure with a curative instruction instead of just excluding it. What her potential sentence is and what the ramifications of that potential sentence are irrelevant to these proceedings. Counsel said they put into context the defendant's statements. There are no statements by the defendant. That's what this is all about. She is not telling the detectives the truth. They also keep asking her to tell them.
There are no statements by the defendant. So all the videos that says she snitched, them niggas need to retract it. Put out another video and say, yo, we got it wrong, yo. She ain't telling on nobody. You heard it out the prosecution's mouth.
If the jury is potentially going to give you any benefit or any kind of mercy, you need to tell us the truth, or they're going to see this. They're going to see what you didn't tell us. You're going to see all these things that you didn't say to us. And there's silence for her. She continues to deny or absolute silence. So it's not really putting any of this into context.
Well, then why is if she doesn't say anything inculpatory after the detective tells her these things, why is that even coming in?
I don't believe it should come in. She does make statements, and they are obvious lies, and I think that's relevant.
The Detective Ramos makes those representations?
Yes, I think the majority of her statements are made before he starts encouraging her to tell them what happened and tell them the truth. I have to defer to Ms. Dorothy. I don't know the statement as well as she does, but are there statements that does she continue to lie after that?
Judge, there are denials throughout, but I had originally proposed ending it a little bit earlier when she first says that she is done, which puts it, almost chops it in half, but there were still statements prior to that, but I think defense counsel wanted it all in until the very last point where she says she wants an attorney.
But this is what I understand. So that only comes in, because these are all hearsay statements by the detective, okay? So anything that she says after that, what is the relevance and why is it admissible? So if she's not making admissions, then it's hearsay. Anything she's saying is hearsay. I'm failing to see why, if she doesn't say anything that the state's intending to introduce after the detective makes those representations to her, then why are we showing it at all to the jury?
Well, prior to him doing that, she makes several statements that are inculpatory.
Okay, well that's different.
And she makes denials in situations where a person, the state would suggest to the jury that it's innocent would not make, and obviously are inculpatory because it's false, and obviously false and be proven false.
So she does make statements to the detective after he tells her all these things about prison and her sentence. Is that what you're telling me?
I'd have to ask Ms. Dorothy. I reviewed more of the redactions than I did her responses once that started.
Like I said, she denies certain facts after that.
I know, but that in and of itself, honestly, that's hearsay, honestly. Only admissions or statements against interest come in a interview.
But it is against her interest if they're going to get on the stand, put almost on the stand and say, at this point she's lying, right? And they're going to present to the jury that she lied about X, Y, Z things throughout the interview. So that all those things are against her interest.
Okay, but again, we're just, that happens before Detective Ramos gives statements to her about the potential sentence or what's going to happen to her. That's different. Okay, we're only talking about anything she may have said because that's the only context that would be part of this discussion. comes in. It'd be the easiest way.
So the government cutting the interview short, Judge.
So what? That happens all the time.
Right, but you're cutting the interview. You don't have to.
I know, but the rule of completeness is only necessary to bring in any other statements if it needs to give context to something. If the original statement from Ramos regarding the sentence and how life never hears that, then they don't need to hear the context of her responses. They don't need to hear it. So, because that's the only reason that the rule of completeness
Man, just let it all in.
Look, Judge, so what you're saying is that the statements.
That's how you avoid all that. Just let the whole interview play. It seemed like one of the strongest pieces of evidence that the prosecution got outside of the surgical mask. Avoid the whole argument.
Up front, the ones before they start to threaten.
Hey, I gotta get out this sun.
And those statements, and they're all important. So it's not like it's just a break. As though at one point in time they made some statements and she's already said everything she needs to say to the state constitution. It's interwoven. There's some time that goes by, they start to threaten, they start to talk about the repercussions, more interviews. More statements from the detectives, more interviews. So it's hard to just cut it off at one particular point. Like you said, this was an issue that the state saw. This is a motion that the state should have filed prior to the trial. We filed our motion to suppress last year, December, on this issue. And I was under the understanding that at 1:22, that's when the interrogation cuts off, because that is when she imposed. So outside of that, like right now, without actually going through line by line, minute by minute, you know, this is when they say this is when she says that. It is just piecemeal, and if the state wants it out, they should have done it beforehand. Not like right in the middle of the trial, right before the detective gets on the stand, in the middle of his testimony.
I have been, since the first trial, discussing potential redactions with them and have gotten no response. I have brought this up, I can show emails where I have brought it up multiple times before the first trial, and then I readdressed it before this trial where I proposed and went line by line and sent them a highlighted version of what I believe should come out, including stopping it early. So I definitely have been waiting for their response and their communication. It has included coming into this trial where I again asked a couple of times that we needed to address this, or we have to bring it in front of the judge.
Well, then you should have brought it before the judge. If you weren't getting anywhere, you should have filed a motion in limine to address this. Because again, there's no way for me to know until I sit down and watch that video. There's no way for me to know the context. I have no way of knowing. And I'm not going to do it in the middle of trial. I'm not. So I really don't know what else I can tell you all. It doesn't, if there's no admissible evidence, meaning inculpatory statements that she makes after, or anything you're going to use against her, after Detective Ramos makes his statements to her, I don't think any of that come in at all. At all. It's not really.
Well, just in a review of it, apparently there is some things that she does say after he starts.
That you wish to use.
Yes.
Against her.
Yes, that we would suggest are very incriminating.
Okay. So then at this point, I'm inclined just to give a limited instruction. Just remind the jury that anything Detective Ramos says, his opinions are just that. They're not necessary. They're not true. They're not taken as true. So at this point, I don't know what else to do other than that. Okay.
So how did these end up in this Vegas speakeasy? It began here, thanks to BetMGM, where they met.
So. I don't want anybody getting up in front of this jury and in cross-examination or closing argument or direct or whatever it may be, and ask a witness or have the defendant testify, and are you in fact facing life in prison? No one's going to ask that question or testify to that. The only reason this is coming in is to purportedly show the context of Ms. Andrews' responses, and that's the only way it can be argued in front of the jury.
And just to be clear, I do not intend to ask a question that would give the jury the impression that what he's saying or what Detective Campbell is saying is true, that she's actually going to face life in prison. Right? But the statements that he makes, not just the life in prison, but some of these other statements, I should have the ability to cross-examine him on the effect that he had on Ms. Andrews at the time.
Well, he can't testify to what's in her state of mind. You have questions about what he said to her, but he can't guess what effect that had on her.
So, and it's not just the effect it has on her, it also goes to our ability to cross, the wide latitude that we do have to cross on motive, bias, and credibility of any witness, especially of the detective.
We'll just have to play question by question, okay? Okay.
Your Honor, unfortunately, there is one other matter. Late last night, I became aware of the fact that several of the defense witnesses have been communicating with each other and watching the trial after the rule was invoked by the defense. So I am requesting of this court, or at least notifying this court that that's occurring, and requesting the witnesses be ordered again to stop communicating with each other and stop watching this televised broadcast.
Could you say which witnesses you're referring to?
Miss Enright, Miss Lyle, and Miss Gaslight or Nevea.
We're not calling the big guy.
Okay, well, Miss Enright and Miss Lyle have been communicating with each other, have been communicating with the co-defendant, getting daily updates up to yesterday as to what's happening in this trial, and speaking about their meeting together via Zoom, whether that's the truth or not, with the defense attorneys this weekend at the same time. So I'm not sure if that's accurate, but of course, if they are going to be testifying, I would like now for them to be instructed again to not be watching the trial if it's being broadcast. I'd like to address it.
I just want to parse that out. I want to make sure that we're saying what's accurate. You're saying that somebody spoke to a co-defendant. Which co-defendant are you referring to?
Sean Gaslight.
All right, so I have no control over whether they speak to Sean. I can tell them not to do that, but I have no control over that, and I did not know that would happen. You also said that there was a Zoom. You're talking about this coming weekend or the one before?
This past weekend, they indicated that they were meeting with you, your office, the defense, about their testimony for witness press together on Zoom.
What I'm asking is, who is the they? Who is meeting with us this weekend?
I presume the callers, or at least the person on the other end of the phone. So Mrs. Enright and Miss Lyle, the co-defendant's mother, who were listed.
All right, so I don't recall meeting with them over Zoom, but if I did, there is no problem with us preparing our witnesses for trial the same way that the state prepares their witnesses for trial. The same way that the state talks to their witnesses outside, whether they're grouped together, whether they're separate. They spoke to witnesses, we speak to witnesses before trial. The court will give an instruction, a jury instruction at the end of the trial, which says that it is not improper for the attorneys to talk to the witnesses.
Well, that is true.
It's improper for them to be prepped together on what their testimony is going to be, and it's improper that the defense invoke the rule of sequestration.
They do that shit all the time. Like, that's why this criminal justice system shit. They do that shit all the time. Like, that's standard practice.
And that those witnesses have been watching the trial ever since. So as we stepped out to instruct our witnesses and just asking that the same be done, and that the state be permitted to cross on that issue, which is not outside of the scope of relevant material cross-examination.
Did you prep the witnesses together?
No. And the only thing I would agree with is, of course, once the rule is invoked, they should not be, I guess, paying attention to the trial, watching the trial. But I have no control of that.
I know. But, I'm assuming you told them, right? The rules of sequestration.
I know particularly, I told Sean Gafford's mother, Ms. Lott.
So I tell you what, before these witnesses testify, I will allow, out of the presence of the jury, state you can question them on exactly what their knowledge is, who they had conversations with, what the discussion was, and then that way you'll know. And then if you deem it necessary, you can use it in cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor.
I want the same opportunity with Detective Bowman. I want to know if he's watching the portion of the trial before he's the
Okay. Yeah, go Freeman, ask him. Be ready to go.
I ain't gonna
Otherwise,
lie, yo. This judge, I say this every time. This judge is about as fair as you can get as a judge. Like, She about fair as you can get. Out of all the cases we covered, and we done covered a lot of cases from we done covered a lot of cases. Yeah, I think she about fair as it can get.
Oh, yes, and there's a, when Detective Ramos begins, I think we're getting into the testimony regarding the Uber
The
driver.
first question I'll ask is we were talking about the Uber driver is what his name is, and we do not want that broadcast, and then I will just refer to him as the Uber driver.
Okay, very good, very good.
I really gotta be careful about phone numbers.
And physical addresses. And this is a public court, and these are material facts, and they're part of the record. And I'm not going to put the burden on the media to scrub out every single phone number and every single email for particularly material facts. Now, some of the Uber driver who's got no connection to this case or whatever, I'm comfortable with his identity not being disclosed. So, if they are individuals with addresses and emails and phone numbers that are of material relevance to this case, I'm not going to order that they be scrubbed.
So there are people making threats to individuals whose phone numbers have been shown. And I'm not putting it on the media. I would just ask if the state knows that they're going to introduce or produce, publish information on the screen that media is watching, that it needs to be somehow talk about that recording, and we can either put a sticky over the number or something. It's not like they're showing the number and they're connecting it to some piece of evidence. It's just on the screen.
Okay, well, you guys have to make specific objections and then let me know ahead of time. Okay, I'm not just going to have a general blanket rule that the media can't broadcast what's happening in here. This is a public forum. Anybody in the public can come in here and watch this trial and see the evidence. So if there is specific confidential information that you don't want broadcast, you need to identify it and we need to discuss it. But specifically with regards to the name of the Uber driver, I am going to allow the state to refer to him as the Uber driver. There's really no reason that person's identity needs to be disclosed during the course of the trial. Okay.
Judge, if I could ask, Detective Ramos is our last witness. Assuming we finish him in the next 2 hours, what is the defendant's lineup of witnesses so we know for preparation, since we've accommodated them throughout this trial with this?
I'm doing that, I did that the other day, but you're saying your direct is going to be 2 hours, or you're talking about?
We still have probably a couple of hours, yes.
So yeah, I mean, this afternoon, you have witnesses that will be here at 1, that is.
So we have,
So the state closing their case today.
Joel Jordan, Jacayla, I'm not sure, Robinson, for sure, and
Robert Howard. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. we have Thomas Pullen. Thomas Pullen, our cell phone expert.
Now, can I ask about Mr. Pullen? We were provided with cell phone tracking by him involving the defendant's phone. In deposition a couple of months ago, he told us that he's going to ask to do the co-defendant's phones, and we've been asking for that all the way up to the day the trial started. Counsel's one response to the story was she was repeating herself, and that it's not important to him, and if it gets excluded, it gets excluded. So I don't know at this point, are you using anything in addition to what we've been provided? If so, I'd like to have it for his cross-examination.
It's not one response. There's several emails back and forth, and Ms. Jordan and I were on Zoom together discussing this issue, or on the phone, one of the two. So that's a misrepresentation. In addition to that, there are maps that he said he would create for the other individuals. We've done like timing maps, so it shows the trajectory of where they were at certain particular points in time during the course of this conspiracy. He didn't create the maps, and so we're not using the maps. So whatever he's testifying to comes from the evidence, comes from the cell phone extraction.
I know, but if it's an expert opinion, specifically, is he going to testify to anything regarding the cell phones of the co-defendants?
Yes, but he doesn't have to provide a map for that.
I'm not saying that. They're saying that they asked you about that and that you didn't respond.
I think, well, I just said that's not true. And he will tell you that, he didn't say that I did not respond. He said I responded one time. That's not true. I responded a few times back and forth. That conversation was just about whether I was going to produce these interactive maps. And I told him, I don't have them.
Did
Just not
you
produce
depose
them.
him?
I did, Your Honor, and I asked him if he had developed any further opinions or other work to let us know so we could take that position of him. And I reserved the right to continue that position.
And were you ever notified after the deposition that their expert was now going to offer opinions as to the cell phone data of the co-defendants?
No,
Until today?
no,
The middle of trial?
yes.
Well,
there's a difference between him offering an opinion.
listen, we're not going to, listen, we got to get going. We'll cross that bridge at a later date. State you need to file whatever appropriate motion you deem necessary regarding
Yes, Your
that.
Honor. Your Honor, one other thing before we bring the jury in.
Yeah.
If I understand counsel right, because they invoked the rule of sequestration, they have only advised one of their witnesses about the rule?
I don't know.
Is that correct, counsel?
That's correct.
Okay, so I would ask that they, as they're obligated to do when they invoke the rule, advise all of your witnesses, please, not to view what's on court
The
TV.
way that counsel is speaking to defense, though, it's been happening since day one.
Okay,
It's
Ms.
very
White,
unnecessary.
I know,
Your
but
Honor.
here, Ms. White, this is the problem. You invoked the rule of sequestration.
I understand that.
Okay, I'm making a statement. I'm not looking for. Sequestration. That means all witnesses. It's incumbent upon the lawyers, as the professionals that they are, to tell all of their witnesses as well. You're not to be discussing the case, you're not to be watching it on court TV. And apparently that didn't happen, right? Didn't happen. Inexcusable.
Well, Your Honor,
Inexcusable.
if I may respond, we are professionals, just like every other attorney in this courtroom. The bigger point that I was making is that the way that Mr. Harmon has been speaking to this side of the table is unprofessional, it's disrespectful. He's done it in front of the jury as well, and there has not been any attempt by the court to intervene in that. So I want to make sure that it's on the record that it's inappropriate. The rising tone is unnecessary, and it's disrespectful, and it's inappropriate.
This is why everything that's happened in this trial is on the record. Everything's been videotaped. The conduct of everybody involved. Okay? And the failure of the defense to tell their own witnesses not to talk about the case is inexcusable, and that's a matter of record.
Well, also,
We don't want to discuss it any further. I don't.
This is outside the courtroom discussing the case with each other. It's an issue for us, and they're doing it themselves.
Okay, let's Detective Ramos, ask him if he's been watching court TV about this case. And then we'll get going.
Motherfucking tempers flaying in that bitch. And then that motherfucking beefing. They don't like how the prosecution treating the defense team. But yeah, they definitely supposed to let their witnesses know you ain't supposed to be watching that shit on TV. That is inexcusable as a defense team. I ain't watched enough to see if the prosecutor been condescending and disrespectful. But that's what they said.
Is that accurate? Wait. So you told me that you believed he'd been watching this all.
But I didn't allege that. I just want to ask you a question.
Yeah, you did allege it. Wait. So you told me that you believed he'd been watching this on court TV, and now you're backtracking and saying, well, I didn't make the allegation.
I did not say that I believe he's watching.
What's up, Drizzy? What's up, Sharice?
On Gazebo Lane in Tampa, Florida. Do you remember that?
Yes, ma'am.
And I had asked you about the vehicle that was shown on, June 23rd of 2024 that you could clearly see in the Ring video, and you could see the defendant along with others walking to it and carrying out bags to that vehicle. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there volume First of all, did you identify who was the driver of that vehicle?
I did.
And who was the driver? Was it an Uber?
Yes.
And who was the Uber driver?
Sathan Wachamari.
Okay. And from now on, we'll refer to him as the Uber driver, okay?
Yes.
I'm going to show you, again, State's Exhibit, let's see, 61. Was there volume on that Airbnb video?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, speed it up.
Does it appear that she is talking to somebody that is already died?
There was a male voice that appeared to be coming from the side, yes.
And could you also hear her knocking?
Yes.
And does she say something when she first gets up there?
Yes.
Was there, during the course of your investigation, did you come to learn that there was a locking mechanism with the Airbnb?
Yes.
And was there a code that was provided to the Airbnb user that they could use to access that door?
Correct.
And again, did you interview the the Airbnb owner, Anthony Alava?
I did.
And did he provide that information to you?
Yes.
During the course of your investigation, did you have assistance with other detectives that helped to gather information early on when you were investigating this case?
Yes.
Was there a locking log that was provided to you by Mr. Alava?
The locking log was sent to another detective and then forwarded to me. Originally, I missed that log.
When did you finally receive a copy of the locking log?
Approximately a month or two ago.
Were analyzing this video?
No.
And at some point, you said that you had seen a vehicle pull up. Is that correct?
Correct.
Did you hear?
In July, and then I had yes, I did.
The fuck is they saying? You can't even really hear it. I ain't gonna lie, yo. This was good police work, man. They did a hell of a job with this investigation. I gotta keep it real. No, I ain't no motherfucking back to blue, but I'm gonna keep it real. They did a hell of a job, y'all, investigating this case, man. And this is a detective that was only a detective for four months. This is his first case. That nigga probably got a promotion after this shit.
What's happening here?
At this point, co-defendant Isaiah Chance leaves to go pick up defendant Alicia Andrews.
Where the fuck she was at?
What's in this video?
This is after arriving back from Pekin, Alicia.
What's going on now?
These appear to be some door-to-door type salesmen, and they apparently talking to Alicia in the front passenger seat there.
I want to get to the interrogation.
Just what I was told to by the defendant.
You had previously interviewed the defendant, is that correct?
So they're gonna go through the transcripts first before they play the video, or the excerpts.
And then what is the response?
Hey, what dates do you need?
Then what does the defendant message?
Tomorrow, but what date do you have available?
No, that's the Instagram shit.
Right to page 2 of State's Exhibit 76B2. What is the next response from Kira Marie?
How many bedrooms do you need?
I'm sorry.
Yep. How many bedrooms, question mark?
What is the defendant's response?
Like 2.
Okay. And of course, this is not in Eastern Standard Time, is this correct?
Correct.
This is in UTC time?
Correct.
So what would you have to do in order to make it Eastern Standard Time?
Subtract 4, so the first message sent at 10:52 would actually have been sent at 6:52 in our time frame.
And then what is the response from Kira Marie?
Hey, I only found tomorrow-Tuesday.
And again, this now says it's going into 6/23 of 2024 at 12:13,
Okay,
10 minutes of when this message was sent from Anthony Alava to Rashad Murphy. Did I also ask you to look at the cell site information for Rashad Murphy, that the phone that was in his possession that is utilized both by him and Charmaine Steiger?
Correct.
And where was it, what vicinity was that cell phone in at the time when this message is happening to book the Airbnb here in Tampa?
The Murphy residence, near the Murphy residence, 301 Caravan Circle in Jacksonville, Florida.
Is that located in Duval County?
Yes.
That shit on my motherfucker.
To show you it's already been introduced into evidence 94C4.
Yes. At Fowler, near the Homestead Suite.
Yeah, they gonna play that interrogation sometime today. So we gotta make sure we get that on live. See where she went wrong at. Cause she said some things that she probably shouldn't have said and probably tighten the case up on her motherfucking ass. But she ain't implicate nobody in no crimes. She ain't do that. And this goes to show for all the people that say, yo, you talk to the police, use the rat. Yeah, man. It's not about what you say. It's not about talking to the police. It's about what you say to the motherfuckers. Yeah, man. She went in there trying to spin, but more than likely she talked herself in the hole. You really can't spin them people. Yeah, man. Them people good at their job, man. As much as I hate to say it, people good at their job, man. Once they get a tip, they get to investigate. Especially when you're talking about homicide. Homicide is goddamn near unlimited resources. They ain't like, you know, some of the other departments. They almost moving like the federal government. They can go state to state. But y'all, I just got to work for real. And see what the fuck going on in here. Yeah, but y'all make sure I hit that like button. Make sure you share the live. We might got another week before YouTube let us out the motherfucking basement. You know, they always do this though, y'all. They do this shit every year. So about 2 times a year. Yeah, man. Most of the time, yeah, they sink our numbers. Then we gotta climb them back up. Then they sink them back down again. Like, it's the game, yo. It's the internet game, yo. It's the game. It's the game when you ain't compromised. You know, when you compromise, they let you go to the moon. You're ain't compromised. They play little dumbass games with you. But yeah, yo, right now they just going over like cell phone mapping. That shit not important. Just showing that she was in the car.
It was one of the ways we were able to verify it was the correct cruise. It had some unique damage, kind of like a scrape or scuff mark from a prior collision.
Hold on.
With the Allegheny County Assistance Office, is this Mr. Mosley?
Yes,
How are you today, sir?
I'm doing good.
Good. I'm calling in regards to the deal we found on your semi-annual report.
Yeah, let me